Kia ora koutou. So, diftar for those of you in Cornwall. So, brace yourselves and get yourselves comfortable. This could be a long one, okay? So this is a return to my series on song lyrics. But it's also about narcissism, because that's what I think these song lyrics relate to. So I'm just pointing the camera at my screen, which I will do for the duration of this video, and I'm holding it up by my hand, so it may shake. But shaky camera is the trademark of this channel. So check out my playlist for song lyric meanings. I've focused largely on songs where the lyrics relate to something psychological or about the human experience. Sometimes they've been songs with the lyrics have been more occult, and I've gone into some of the theory around that. So I'm going to showcase the work of Julianne Regan. Now, Julianne Regan was the lead singer of All About Eve, which you're pretty familiar with the film, but this is the band. And also she formed a band called Mice, which kind of highlighted a whole kind of different side of her, really. And I love All About Eve and I love Mice. And I love Julianne Regan because she is a proper lyricist. She writes some brilliant songs musically, but lyrically fantastic as well, and well worth exploring and examining and analysing, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, so Strangeway, I didn't realise it's actually one word. So this comes off their final studio album, the final proper studio album. They did some bits and pieces after this, but this is their final. No, it wasn't. No, what am I talking about? No, this is their penultimate album. The album that followed was very different and threw a lot of fans, and through me actually, but I love it now. So the final one was quite a big shift musically, but this one is it's kind of in the vein of the stuff that they've done before, and what a brilliant album it is. It's just so many good songs really, and not having listened to it for a little while and listened to it again recently, I've been kind of surprised, you know, because you kind of remember some of the songs on an album, don't you? They haven't listened to for a while, but you always kind of forget some, and it's just like every one is brilliant. So there's another song here called Ravens that I want to do a video on, so look out for that. That might come quite soon. So this is a song called Strangeway. I didn't know that it was all one word, so that's interesting. It makes me think of Strangeway's Prison, which is a name that always tickled me, because the people in Strangeway's Prison, I guess, have had strange ways about them, and that's why they're there. So it's believed that this song and the song that follows it, which is Farewell Mr. Sorrow, were about Julianne's relationship with the original, I say original, but the it depends how far you go back really, but the generally, you know, for all their albums at least, the guitarist was a guy called Tim Braccino, and Julianne had a relationship with him which I don't think ended too well. Now, I don't know about all this because, you know, I'm not in the inner circle, but this is bits and pieces that I've read from interviews, and whether they're speculative or whether they have some accuracy, I don't know, but it's a breakup song for sure, and I think it's a song that hints at narcissism. And Blue Sonic Boy, which is the Mice song that I want to feature, also I believe hints at narcissism in relationships. Now, I'm not calling Tim Braccino a narcissist. I don't know enough. You know, I don't know him personally. I've met him actually, but I don't know him personally. So I'm not gonna, you know, I wouldn't want to brand him a narcissist. But my suggestion is that I think Julianne experienced her take on what happened in the relationship was not good, and her recounting of it in the song would be consistent with narcissism. Now, song lyrics are song lyrics. They're open to interpretation. This is just my interpretation, so I'm not bad-mouthing Tim Braccino. I've got a lot of reasons to like Tim Braccino, because he's... So this album, they had a new guitarist called Marty Wilson-Piper, who was actually kind of on loan from an Australian band called The Church. And so Tim Braccino was the previous guitarist, and he's a fine guitarist. Not only has he been in All About Eve, but he's been in a couple of other of my favourite bands. He's actually been in the Sisters of Mercy, and he's also been in The Mission. So this is just examining the lyrics and what they suggest. I'm not making judgments about individuals here. So if Timbricino were to make social overtures towards me, I would greet him, very warmly and respectfully, and I would make him a cup of tea. But this is just looking at what the lyrics might mean. So that being said, so we're going to go through them. Okay, I've got them up on the screen. So credit where credit's due. Who's done these lyrics? Bear with me, I'll scroll down. So I just basically just googled the song name and lyrics. So lyric find. Okay, and there's your songwriters. Okay, so Andy Cousin, Julianne, Regan, Mark Price, they're all long-standing members of All About Eve. I think Mark Price, did he drum for Nick Kershaw? The very early stuff, they had a drum machine. But Mark Price has been in the lineup for a long, long time. They're all great. And there's some brilliant guitar stuff on this album. Some of the guitar on this album, not this song I believe, but some of the other songs, there's guest guitar parts by Dave Gilmour from Pink Floyd. And they're rather fine as well. So here we go with the lyrics. So were you looking for a sister or looking for your mother? I was looking for a love inspired. I didn't need a little brother to hold when the wind blew cold. So this kind of hints at neediness. So if we're looking at narcissism, we would probably be looking more at what they call covert narcissism rather than the grandiose narcissism. Covert narcissism is more, sometimes known as vulnerable narcissism. There's more neediness, there's more vulnerability, as you would imagine. A string of hearts lie in your wake. You tried to take, that should be you tried to take me along for the ride. I must be out of my head to get strung out on your silver thread. So a lot of narcissists, narcissistic sort of behaviour involves kind of serial relationships, because often people don't, well, two reasons really. Often people don't want to stay with a narcissist because it's not very nice, but also the narcissists often tire of people and then they look for somebody else. One of the authorities that I go to on narcissism is a guy called H.G. Tudor, who's very controversial, and he's not part of academia or research, or his stuff isn't research based. Although I'm sure a lot of it is based on bits and pieces of research, but it's kind of theoretical. And he talks a lot about how narcissists will love bomb people in the early days of a relationship, hence the silver thread, and then they will devalue them in the later days of the relationship. So they'll put them down, they'll neglect them, all those kinds of things. Sometimes extreme abuse, sometimes behaviour that's just not very nice, that maybe you couldn't actually call abuse with a capital A, but it's really not very nice. So string of hearts lie in your wake suggests that serial relationships take people along for the ride. I must be out of my head to get strung out on your silver thread. The love bombing and the charm, the superficial charm of the narcissist. When I say narcissist, I'm generally talking about somebody that's that would kind of fit the diagnostic criteria for narcissistic personality disorder. And again, I'm not saying that any individual has got this. I'm just saying this is what the lyrics suggest. So Julianne, if you are writing a song about a narcissist, whoever it may be that you were entangled with, you weren't out of your head, and the silver thread is very, very seductive, and narcissists mess with your head. So if anybody watching this has actually been entangled in a relationship with a narcissist, there's a very strong chance that you'll be blaming yourself and you're thinking, oh, why did I fall for that? But don't blame yourself. They're good at it. A strange way of showing your love. You had a strange way. I hear you met a young girl, here she is your lover, so when you break a young sweet heart, she'll find it easy to recover. Not like me, I took you seriously, and for a while I lost my smile, I lost my way. That's what happens in a relationship with a narcissist. You lose yourself. But I found something out. It's going to take something more than you to break a spirit like mine. A strange way of showing your love, just for the thrill of it all. Yeah, so often narcissists, they're seeking excitement, but then the future is blind. So future faking is One of the things that H.G. Tudor talks a lot about, that narcissists will kind of weave a vision of an amazing future in the relationship, and they don't mean a word of it. So just for the thrill of it all, I'm good at wasting my time. So it does feel like a waste of time in a narcissistic relationship. But I'm on my way. I've had enough. The winter comes, the wind blows cold. It isn't forever. Great that this ends on this positive. This is really nice, because there's plenty of songs about narcissism or being with a narcissist that don't end on a positive. Okay, so it's not. I don't think it's. I don't think these lyrics you could say this is definitely about a relationship with a narcissist. It could just be describing a relationship where somebody's maybe immature, maybe needy. Various behaviours that aren't great. But this is what my hunch is. This is what my gut is telling me, is that this is. Now, let's jump to another song. We've got some adverts. I don't get paid any money for these adverts that are popping up on the screen. It's just the price I pay for being very poor with tech and the way I go about doing things. So, mice. So all about Eve. I think. What did Julianne say? She said something like she formed mice because she. Yes, she can be pre-Raphaelite sometimes, but sometimes she's just the girl that wants to go to Tesco or something like that. Misquoted probably that terribly. So mice, much less romantic, whimsical, not so much folk rock, more kind of indie, I guess, or if that's the best way to describe it, and quirkier lyrics, but still really good lyrics. So it's a whole different kind of side of Julianne, and Mice and All About Eve are both brilliant. Blue Sonic Boy. Okay, so first of all, the title, which I never got. So I obviously did the whole Google thing, Blue Sonic. Being a Doctor Who nerd, I always think it's Sonic Screwdrivers, but it's not to do with that. So Sonic the Hedgehog, I believe, is blue. So I thought, all I could find when I did a Google search around those terms was stuff around Sonic the Hedgehog. And I've never played Sonic the Hedgehog. I like computer games, but I'm not very good with tech, so the only ones that I play are ones that I can get for free on my phone that I can understand. So Sonic the Hedgehog apparently is a kind of character that runs around like a blue-arsed fly, blue again, and he collects rings, I believe. And I don't really know what rings are, and they signify some kind of currency, I believe, that you need to get in the game. So somebody that, as we go through the lyrics, this will kind of become apparent. But kind of running around like a blue-arsed fly, as in trying to achieve something with some degree of being frantic, is certainly a theme in the song. But collecting rings ties in with the previous lyrics, which a string of hearts lie in your wake. Taking people along for the ride. So that kind of collective relationships. So that's where I think the title is at there. But like I said, I could be completely wrong. Now, I resonate with some of the lyrics in this song. He's like an ice cream man with no bell in his van. Though he'd like to, he can't even serve you if you're deserving of his fine wares. So kind of an element of self-sabotage there. And it's a very common thing to self-sabotage, or to feel like we're kind of sabotaging ourselves, even if we're not doing that, even if that's not actually the process that's going on. And that can be done. That could be for a whole number of reasons, but it can be associated with a vulnerable or covert narcissist, because they often play victim. So to actually fail can be a source of gaining pity from people. So he's like an ice cream van, no bill in his van. They'd like to And just skipping that middle line for a second, which I don't identify with. I identify with a terribly ambitious bit. Not I'm not occasionally vicious. I'm not at all vicious, I don't like to think. And if wishes were little fishes, he'd be every fisherman's friend. So yes, I can definitely relate to that. Just always looking for an opportunity, always looking for the break. So terribly ambitious, and he's occasionally vicious. Now that smacks totally of the narcissist to me. Ambition is certainly a thread. There do seem to be a lot of low functioning narcissists around that, you know, have this high ambitiousness, grandiosity, but actually the reality is that, you know, they don't hold down jobs, and they don't, you know, they're not very successful in life by the ways that society tends to judge people's success. So that's kind of interesting. And of course there's, you know, grandiose narcissists that are extremely successful, like Donald Trump, for example. So I found him looking in a mirror. Well, that's a kind of, you know, humdinger of a reference to narcissism. Then looking in my shoes, which maybe suggests jealousy, which is a key thing with narcissism. Looking in my pocket for a razor. So is he looking in her pocket or his pocket? And why is he looking for a razor? So I think kind of self-harm, either physically or metaphorically, for pity, as part of the victim. I think that's how I would interpret that. He's my blue sonic boy. I believed in his watery lies. Yeah, that's what narcissists are like. They have watery lies, and his half-assed scheme to rule the world. But you know, it isn't. So now we're getting back onto self-sabotage again. But you know, it isn't easy hanging out with the Time Lords when you're a Dalek and can't even climb up the stairs. So I mentioned Doctor Who before, didn't I? And obviously I was unconsciously thinking of this line. Of course, Daleks can climb up the stairs now, but they couldn't originally, so that's very valid. So when you wake tomorrow, stick a bell in your van, be a 99 man, it will help you in your endeavours to greatly succeed. We were having such a lovely holiday until we blew our minds away. Yeah. So it's like I say, it's not overt, but I just read this and that's what I think. The other thing, just to throw this in, another observation, is this always makes me think, for some reason, of Paul McCartney's Just Another Day, which was actually, I think it was a rejected Beatles song, which is, I can't remember all the lyrics in that, but there's a thing about putting on shoes, stepping into shoes, and I think there's a looking in a pocket as well. But I don't know that for sure. So there we go. So Blue Sonic Boy collecting rings. Now it's interesting because there's another All About Eve song, well this is a my song, but another Julianne Regan song by All About Eve, a lovely one, called, a very sad one, a lot of them are very melancholy, called December, and it talks about a ring saved from a mistletoe kiss. And then also the song, which we haven't gone into because the lyrics are a little bit more difficult to define, but the song on the same album as Strangeway, the one that comes after that, Farewell Mr. Sorrow, talks about you were wondering if I had dreams of wedding rings. So I think rings, you know, ring is a bit of a theme in Julianne's writing around these topics. So there you go. So in talking about this, I've said a little bit about narcissism, but I have got other videos on narcissism, and I like to talk about it because narcissists are everywhere and very dangerous to brush up against in any respect, particularly in an intimate relationship and particularly in a work situation or a business situation. So I like to kind of forearm people around narcissism. Also, you know, most people have at least one narcissist in the family, and if if your main caregiver was a narcissist, then that's not good. That's probably left you with some serious scars, and you may still be entangled with the narcissist. So I do recommend a few of my other videos. There's a video I've done showcasing the channel and the work of HG Tudor, which I think is definitely worth a watch. I've done some other videos on narcissism in general. Beware, be forewarned and forearmed. And if you're in a relationship, whether it's family or work or romantic with a narcissist, and you feel kind of stuck in the relationship, but also, you know, the person has been pretty horrible, but it's not that clear cut. So often, you know, you're left with this confusion that the person has been, you know, horrible at times, but also at other times they've been, you know, seemingly been amazing and lovely towards you. That is probably a good chance that's a narcissistic relationship, and they're very difficult to get out of because they mess with your head and you get entangled in the relationships. So if that rings true with you, I suggest you watch those videos. Also, you may be a narcissist, but if you're a narcissist, you will have so many psychological defenses you probably won't recognize it. Not many people you know, identify with being or admit to being narcissistic, and it's not a very nice thing to admit to. But you might be a narcissist, and one of the things that I'm very aware of with retroactive jealousy is that often sufferers of retroactive jealousy are the children of narcissists, and often become narcissistic in themselves as well. I've talked about this in other videos, so just something to throw in there. Now, I think I'm on a roll now. I think I'm going to go and record this other lyric video based on the song called Ravens, which is also on the album Touched by Jesus. By the way, it's not they're not a Christian band or anything like that. Touched by Jesus sounds like it's an album of Christian music. I don't think there's been any good Christian music since since the Baroque days, really. I think Cliff Richard was the death of Christian music. No, maybe the kind of the 1800s. I think the 1800s there were some good hymns written, but I think certainly as soon as like the 20th century started, Christian music just became terrible. But there you go. You might want to argue with me about that, which you can do, but just be polite. So watch out for the next video. Check out the old video. If you're an All About You fan, I've done quite a few, and I will keep doing All About You videos because the lyrics are just they're just, you know, beautiful, real poetry. So stay tuned for the next one. Thank you for watching this. Please do all the things that help the channel, like hitting the like button and leaving a nice comment and sharing and subscribing and all that kind of thing. And we'll be with you very soon with some more stuff. I've got some more retroactive jealousy videos on the way, more of all kinds of things really. So keep your eye out. If you hit the little bell icon, that will notify you when I release a video on YouTube. So thank you very much, lovely people. Thank you for watching, and I'll be with you very soon. Regan.